Florida is emerging as the new epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak in the US, with almost 300,000 cases to date in that state.
The surge in infections has prompted officials in Miami to consider reactivating a temporary field hospital at a local convention centre. Let's get more from our North America correspondent, Catherine Diss, who joins us from Washington. Catherine, good morning. It is a mess in Miami. They're talking about it being, similar to Wuhan?
Yeah, that's right, Lisa. It's not just a mess in Miami, but more broadly in Florida. And while New York really bore the brunt of the pandemic back in March, April and May, Florida remained largely unscathed, which was quite a surprise given its large elderly population. But that's no longer the case. They are now topping the nation in daily cases of coronavirus. Now that is for two reasons, in part because of additional testing or more testing. But the critical point is that the positivity rate has also been rising at an alarming rate. Some 20% of those being tested for coronavirus are now coming back positive. Yesterday, Florida recorded 9,000 new cases. It recorded its highest daily death toll yesterday, also of 133. 4,500 people have now died in that state. And that, of course, comes after Florida recorded, or smashed rather, the record set by New York for the highest number of daily cases on Sunday, recording some 15,000 new infections. Now, there are patches that are worse than others. The South has been particularly hard hit, and as you've mentioned, Miami is one of those locations. Authorities on the ground are saying that it really is a tale of two cities, in that residents are taking the pandemic fairly seriously, wearing masks and socially distancing, but the visitors that are coming to the state are not. And we're seeing images and videos emerge on social media of street parties, of younger people not wearing masks, gathering in the street, drinking heavily, and that's certainly not helping the outbreak there, where, authorities are now having to consider reopening that field hospital.
God. And Catherine, viewers may have noticed you've been missing from our screens for a little while, and we can reveal this morning to them it was because you were quite sick with coronavirus. I hope you're doing okay, but can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, that's right, Lisa. I've spent the better part of the last fortnight isolating in my basement after coming down fairly heavily with symptoms of coronavirus. It was, I suppose, a fairly frightening experience. I woke up with a fairly tight sort of feeling in my throat a couple of hours after going to bed one night. That was about 5 days after returning from Tulsa in Oklahoma, where we covered the Donald Trump's comeback rally. It was a fairly frightening feeling. The sore throat came on fairly quickly. I had an incredibly bad headache, a real ache behind my eyeballs, and I also was completely exhausted. And I suppose for me, the critical point where I sort of jolted up and thought twice about how I was feeling was when I got up the next morning. I was very dizzy. I was unable to stand for long, and simple tasks just seemed incredibly difficult. And we've heard a lot of people who have contracted coronavirus talk about a kind of mental fog that they experience, where things don't quite seem normal. They can't really concentrate or think, and I most certainly did feel that way. And I suppose the critical point of telling my story is to try and remind the audience and to tell all those 30-somethings out there that if they do start to feel like this, to not brush it aside. I most certainly probably would have if we weren't amid a pandemic, where I've listened to health authorities on an almost daily basis tell me about the symptoms of this virus, that while they may well not need hospitalisation, that they could well pass it on to someone that could need to be ventilated or be taken to hospital.
And look, you're looking pretty well this morning, but I know that at the back of your mind, you're having to take it very easy and you're worried about the long-term impact.
Yeah, look, I think makeup goes a long way, Lisa, to making us look better on camera. You know what it's like. We've all been there, where we work in a fairly sort of half fatigued environment a lot of the time in these particular roles. But sure, coming on now 3 weeks since I showed symptoms, I'm still incredibly tired, I'm fatigued, I'm finding myself having to take naps during the day, and I'm constantly nauseous, which the doctors here tell me is quite a telltale sign of the virus. I can't really tell if I'm hungry or if I'm just feeling sick. So most definitely a bit concerned about what the long-term impacts are. I've spoken to a number of epidemiologists here who have said that the fatigue and tiredness, even for young people like myself, can last a number of months. So big message there, guys. You don't want this. Mask up and make sure you're socially distancing.
Catherine Diss, thank you for sharing your personal story with us, and, you know, all of our thoughts with you, because you do a great job. It is tough over there. Just look after yourself, though.